What's going on, everyone? Fearless Football Forecast here with the best bets for week 5 of the NFL season. We are amped about this one, and we might as well just get things started with the bet and the team that you're looking at right now. We are actually on the Carolina Panthers this week, plus 10 at minus 110. And there's a lot of reasons. We're about to break them down, but we're also on the money line a little bit too. I mean, it's just crazy to think that the
Sprinkle.
Detroit Lions are a double-digit favorite. I think that their big win against the Packers last week is a big reason for this, and the fact that they defeated the Chiefs. But let's not forget that Amon-Ra St. Brown is questionable to play right now. They're getting Jamison Williams back, so they might, hyper target him early. Who knows if he's able to play? In my opinion, I see this game coming down where Carolina has another one of those big defensive plays early on in the game, and that can dictate the pace. If they can get ahead early, they can actually utilize Miles Sanders a lot against this Detroit Lions run defense. I think they easily cover this number and make it very close.
Yeah, so just off the bat, without just anything to back it, it's just one of those spot games that we see all the time in the NFL. Team comes off a big win, everyone thinks they're on top of the world, and then all of a sudden they kind of get humbled. Um, and that's why I think you should consider sprinkling the money line on the Panthers. But I love them to cover the 10. I think this is a one possession game at the end of the day. And quite honestly, one of the bigger points you mentioned, Amon Ra, he was already dealing with the toe thing. He seemed to be battling through it fine. Now he's adding to that an abdomen. If he misses this game, I don't see a world where their offense functions very well, honestly. They'll try and run the game or run the ball, but that will help us, I think, keep the game closer. Another thing is, I feel like when you're facing a team like the Panthers and you know you don't have to score a lot of points, your game plan kind of changes. So I think but coming into this game, both of these teams are going to try and run the ball, time of possession each other out. And I think that Carolina is going to have success in the run game. And I think that the Lions are going to do fine in the run game. So they're just going to have long drives eating up the clock. And really, you just need, like you said, a couple big stops by the defense, which I can see happening. Even if Amon Ra plays, now that he's got two ailments that he's dealing with, how good is he going to be? I still think he's one of the best receivers in the league, so he'll have a few impact plays, but I think that that's going to limit him at least a little bit. I really do love this line. Even if they lose by 10, you're getting a push. I really think that this is a great value here.
Yeah, it's a fantastic. I mean, probably the best bet of the season so far. And my next bet is actually going to be another bad team, but a great player. I'm going with Garrett Wilson over 52 and a half receiving yards. Similar to how I said to sprinkle also on the money line for the last one, I would also sprinkle on an alternate over if you can get it at 100 yards. Garrett Wilson is fantastic. And last week, we just saw a game where he had a lot of targets that weren't necessarily on point. That was a big primetime game. The big reason why I like this is that Zach Wilson is coming off of his best performance of his career. And this should be a matchup where both Wilsons end up exploiting the really bad defense of the Denver Broncos. I mean, they've let up the most air yards all season. Wide receivers are absolutely eating. A guy like DJ Moore last week ended up having 150 yards against them. And if DJ Moore can do that, I think Garrett Wilson can 1,000% hit this 52 and a half. I'm sprinkling a lot on this one. Like I said, I like the alternate over. I see him maybe even getting a touchdown as well. This is going to be a monstrous performance from Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, this is my first looking into what you picked, and that's a really low line in my opinion. Like you said, Denver's defense probably the worst in the league. Even if Surtain is on him, he's just getting so hyper targeted at this point. I think he had like 14 targets last week. I think even if he just dinks and dunks his way there, I think this is a pretty low number, and I think that it's a good number to try and take advantage of. And then we're going to jump into my personal bet of the week, and I'm going to go with kind of a bigger payout type situation. I really think Travis Kelce is going to tear up the Minnesota Vikings. My bet's going to be Travis Kelce, 2+ touchdowns. The best line I saw was plus 410. I think that this game is going to be kind of a shootout. You saw last week that the Chiefs defense, while it's been really, really good this year, it does have some deficiencies. So I think that the Vikings are going to be able to compete with the Chiefs offensive game. And, the Chiefs have really looked sloppy on offense other than that one Bears game. The Vikings defense does not scare me. I think this is a game where they kind of get back into the normal mode of things. I think Mahomes is going to be pissed off and trying to send a message, and I think Travis Kelce is going to be a big part of that. I actually, when I like looking into this, I was like, if this value is, because a lot of times with star players, they kind of kill the value. So, to get 2 touchdowns, I don't think it's a great value, but I think that it's better than when you would get them certain times when they're on a hot stretch. Like I could see this number next week being significantly lower, like plus 300. And I really do think that it's going to happen.
Yeah, Kelsey's due for a explosive game. He's been kind of quiet so far this season. He did have the touchdown, but he's been held, under 100 receiving yards every single game. He hasn't really been hyper focused. It seems like the Chiefs' offense, like you said, has just been, really a wild card recently. And this is a perfect bounce back game for them against the Minnesota Vikings. I love the value on it. All the Swifties are going to be ready for it. And yeah, Travis Kelce always has those games, like at least 2 or 3 per season where he scores multiple touchdowns. I like this being a great spot. I'm assuming that we end up sweeping this week. So everyone make sure to like this video, subscribe, and check out our podcast, which is linked down below. We'll catch you later. Peace.